Hello, great people. The political space is getting heated up as President Bola Tinubu and former President Olusegun Obasanjo fight dirty over the content of Obasanjo's new book titled Nigeria, Past and Future. In the book, Obasanjo called President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima corrupt, wasteful, and he tagged them small mind. And this has infuriated the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The presidency have responded. On this episode of Politics, we'll be dissecting the issues. What did Obasanjo say in his new book? I'll be reading a paragraph for you, a very powerful paragraph, and then we'll be looking at what is the response of the presidency, what is the relationship between them, what is going on the scene and behind the scene. We'll be dissecting this whole issue. What did Obasanjo complain about? Why did Obasanjo tag Bola Tinubu corrupt and wasteful? Why did he tag them small mind? We'll be dissecting this and a whole lot more on this episode with your show plug, Dr. Omosholade. If you are yet to subscribe, of course, please do well to subscribe to this channel. Now, Nigeria, Past and Future. That is the title of Obasanjo's new book. What did Obasanjo complain in that book? Obasanjo complained about the Tinubu government spending 21 billion naira for the residence of Vice President Kashim Shettima. He also complained about Tinubu spending 50.6 trillion naira for the Lagos-Calabar Highway. Now, let us start with the 21 billion for the residence of Vice President Kashim Shettima. Obasanjo called it misplaced priority and he called it a ploy to embezzle public funds. Now, let us look at these two issues. How realistic it is. Is it a misplaced priority and is it a ploy to embezzle public funds? Now, the first one, which is that of misplaced priority, is the 21 billion naira a misplaced priority? Well, to my mind and to the mind of majority of Nigerians, I tend to agree with the former President Olusegun Obasanjo, because if you look at it, in a country where people are hungry, in a country where people are languishing in anguish, in a country where people are living in a state of destitution, in a country where people are moving from prosperity to poverty, occasioned by the policies of government, in a country of massive corruption, you now spend 21 billion naira to provide residence to one man out of a population of over 200 million people in a country that the minimum wage is 70,000 naira and most employers of labor are not even paying the minimum wage. In a country where you are borrowing to fund your budget, then spending 21 billion naira on the residence of the vice president is sure wastage. So I tend to agree with the former president on that. And if you look at it, in the true sense of it, why would you spend 21 billion naira? Which house was Oshibajo staying? And I can place a bet that the house that Yemi Oshibajo, the former vice president, was staying, if you compare it to the house of where majority of Nigerians are living, that house will be like an heaven on earth. And it is reported that even Kashim Shettima is not even staying in that house because he thinks that the security of that house has been compromised by President Bola Tinubu to be monitoring him. But that's another analysis for another day. And that's why you need to subscribe to this channel if you are here to. Now, the 21 billion naira for VP residence. The second point, it is a ploy to embezzle public funds. Now, let us look into that. Is it a ploy to embezzle public funds? Well, the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, we need to prove that to the Nigerian people in the sense that, and the Tinubu government, we need to bring out the records. How much was spent on the purchase of security gadget, electrical gadget in his house, in that particular house? What is the actual cost of it in the market? Then we need to now begin to compare and contrast. Then we can know that whether it is employed to embezzle public funds or not. Is that out itself? Is it worth 21 billion naira? If it doesn't worth it, then it means that the former president is correct. But then, he being a former president of Nigeria, and he has stayed in Aso Rock. Aso Rock was his home for 8 years. He would know whether that house worth 21 billion. So the former president is privy to sensitive information than we are. So I expect that the former president may be speaking from the position of knowledge based on he being an 88-year-old man, a former president, a former military head of state. He might be speaking from some informed perspective. Now, let us go to the second accusation that made the former president Olusegun Obasanjo tagged Tinubu and Shettima corrupt, wasteful, and small minds. First, let us look at that word, small minds. small mind. That is a very strong word, because if you tag the president of Nigeria small mind, that means that you are tagging somebody that is ruling Nigeria, that is overseeing the affairs of over 200 million people, a small mind. Can a small mind be the president of Nigeria? Well, if we look at our leadership recruitment process, of course, it is very possible for any rap tag, scallywag, street touching to become a governor and even by extension a president in Nigeria. So our leadership recruitment process make it easy for anybody to become a president of Nigeria. But then if Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima are really small minds, then that means that hope is lost for Nigeria, because they will be there till 2027, and if care is not taken, they will be there till 2031. Now let us go to the 15.6 million naira trillion, the 15.6 trillion naira Lagos-Calabar Highway project. Obasanjo tag it wasteful, corrupt, and a misplaced priority. Well, let us look at something. Is it wasteful? Is it corrupt? Is it a misplaced priority? Well, I don't think it is wasteful, because in fairness to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even if the project is not useful for us now, if it's not largely useful, the generations unborn will meet that project if it is well built, that road if it is well constructed, and it will be useful for them, because the population of Nigeria is increasing by the day. By the way, the road infrastructure of Nigeria is almost nothing to write home about. So I disagree with the president that it is wasteful. The former president apologized that it is wasteful. Now, his second point, is it corrupt? Well, I agree that it is corrupt, in the sense that the way and manner that road project was awarded, it is very corrupt, because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not follow the due process in awarding that project, and at the end of the day, it was discovered that the project was awarded to a company that is allegedly owned by his friends, and Sheyi Tinubu has strong stakes in that company. So we are looking at 15.6 trillion naira of Nigeria's money. So if you want to award a project of 15.6 trillion and you did not go through the due process, and you did not kind of do it in such a way that people can have strong confidence in you, if the award of that project is shady, then we can sense some level of corruption in it. So the awarding of that project sense some corruption, and the Nigerian Senate that is supposed to hold the presidency accountable has been unable to do anything. So are there elements of corruption as accused by former President Olusegun Obasanjo? Of course, there is a high level of corruption as regards the way and manner that the project was awarded. Now, the former president called it a misplaced priority. Is it a misplaced priority? Well, for me, it is not a misplaced priority at all, in the sense that Nigeria needs more infrastructure. If you go to Western countries, you will see so many infrastructures, and if this kind of project has been built in, let's say, 10 or 20 years ago, look at the cost now. So no effort is waste. It is better to provide the infrastructure than for the money to be embezzled. Now let us go to another thing, the response of the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The Bola Ahmed Tinubu presidency responded that Obasanjo is simply jealous. I'm taken aback by that particular response. That response seems to be quite unintelligent enough. That response seems to be quite babyish from the presidency of a federal republic of Nigeria, in the sense that how will you say Obasanjo is jealous? Somebody that is a retired military general, somebody that served as a former head of state of Nigeria in the 70s, somebody that was elected two-term president from 1999 to 2007, and you now tax such a person jealous. Jealous of what? Is it the personality of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which there are so many question marks to it? Is it the performance of Bola Ahmed Tinubu so far, which is nothing to write home about? Is it the credibility of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which there are also some question marks to it? So what is there that the former president will want to jealous Bola Ahmed Tinubu for? So using that word jealous, I think is an unintelligent submission from the presidency. And if you look at it, you see, I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu needs to up his game as regards the response that people will be given to, should I say high mind or high profile persons, so that they don't end up embarrassing the president. And the presidency now also gave a response, which I would like to read to you. He said, typical examples of waste, corrupt. I think this is from Olusegun Obasanjo, one of the statement of Olusegun Obasanjo in that particular book. He said, typical examples of waste, corruption and misplaced priority are the murky Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road on which the president had turned deaf ears to protest, and the new vice president official residence built at the cost of 21 billion naira in the time of economic hardship to showcase the administration hitting the ground running and to show the importance of the office of the vice president. What small minds. Let us look at it. The former president is saying, well, is he right or wrong? Well, what he said here is generally the truth. And if you look at it, he has strong points. So the presidency should be able to come up with, a strong argument and not begin to attack the personality of the former president. Obasanjo has shown that he's a fearless person anyway. He will speak his mind, not minding whose ox is caught. Now, the presidency of Bola Tinubu also said Obasanjo failed to transform Nigeria. Well, I would agree with the presidency of Tinubu in that regard, that Obasanjo failed to maximize his opportunity to indeed transform Nigeria. Because if Obasanjo has set the right standard, if he has set a good precedent, it will be difficult for other presidents to deviate from that. So Obasanjo was one of the people that contributed in kind of like advancing the premium on politics, that politics became lucrative. Obasanjo has the opportunity to have reduced the premium on politics, and that's why you see now that politicians want to kill themselves, they want to destroy just to retain and regain power. As you can see what is happening in Rivers State. And the presidency also responded that Tinubu is a master strategist. Well, I want to agree and disagree with that. In terms of, knowing your way to power, knowing how to grab power, steal it and run away with it. Of course, Bola Tinubu is a master strategist. But in terms of bringing the dividends of democracy to the people, in terms of good governance, in terms of creating succor for the citizenry, if what has happened in this tenure of Bola Tinubu is anything to go by, it contradicts the statement of the presidency that Tinubu is a master strategy. But what I can say in all of this is that the presidency should look at the book, look at the statement of Obasanjo, look at where the former president is right, look at where he is wrong, and take where he is right, and take his advice. Nigeria cannot be a country that is borrowing and you'll be buying, jet, you'll be buying Escalade for yourself, you'll be building houses with 21 billion for your vice president. That is not prudency. So far so good. If you look at it, the former vice president is right, and we can't help but look at Obasanjo as somebody that didn't perform well and is now advising. That is how an elder should be. If an elder has failed, you should be able to advise the upcoming one that no, don't fail. So that we cannot take away. We can't say because Obasanjo underperformed, then we now say, oh, he can no longer speak. No, he still has the right to speak as a Nigerian, and he deserves to be listened to, if not for anything, based on his wealth of knowledge and experience. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politics with Dr. Moshola. Did you do want to subscribe? Turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course I have great interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.